Al Bernstein here at the MGM Grand along with Steve Farhood as we bring you coverage on the Boxing Channel of tonight's Knockout Kings card, which featured in the main event, of course, Canelo Alvarez defending his WBC super welterweight title against Josesito Lopez. And Steve, it was an interesting fight because Josesito Lopez showed us the heart he showed against Victor Ortiz and has always shown, but he was against a bigger man. He ended up losing by technical knockout in the 5th round. It was a game effort by Lopez.
Game effort. My analysis I'm going to steal from this guy on Showtime named Bernstein, who occasionally has something pretty intelligent to say. And what this guy Bernstein said is that every time Lopez went to the ropes, he suffered. He didn't do badly in ring center. He tried to fight. He didn't run. He's not capable of boxing in that style. That's not his way. He's a fighter. And he didn't have the power, clearly, to hurt Alvarez. But every time he backed to the ropes, he'd get hit to the body, and you saw him, he just couldn't handle it. He was simply too small. But Canelo did nothing wrong, and he's exciting as there is for young fighters in the game.
Canelo Alvarez in front of a large crowd here at the MGM performed well and maybe stamps himself as a superstar to come. So let's hear what the two fighters had to say about this fight.
What's up, everybody? I came here, I fought my heart out, but that wasn't enough, came out short. You're never prepared to lose, and that's the worst part. I hate losing, so I'm a little disappointed, but the better man did win tonight. I got to congratulate Canelo. We knew he was a tough fighter, and he came in and executed. He did what he had to do. Very, very strong fighter. Pretty much, he did what we knew he could do. I think we felt going into the fight that we could do a little more against him, but we came up short, and I got to congratulate the champion.
You may have spoke on this in the ring afterwards, so if you did, I apologize. You were showing a lot of heart in the fight. Some people were not too pleased with the way that the fight was stopped. They thought that you were still kind of in a position where you're defending yourself and throwing some punches. What did you think about the stoppage at the time?
You know what? I didn't want the fight stopped. I wanted to continue in there. Felt like I could have, done a little more, but Canelo did his job. Did what he does. He's a really smart fighter, and his weight did play a big difference in the fight.
Muchas gracias a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. Y pues, ¿qué les puedo decir? Me siento muy contento con la noche de hoy, con toda la gente que estuvo apoyándome, con la gran valentía de Josesito. Y pues nada, me siento contento, agradecido con todos ustedes, el apoyo que me han brindado. Espero poderles seguir dando buenas peleas y hay que trabajar más, ¿no? Siempre se aprende algo nuevo.
Well, thank you all for being here. Good evening, first of all. And what can I say? I'm very happy. I think the performance speaks for itself. Thank you all for all the support, as always, for being here, for watching the fight. And, I thought it was a great event. The question is for Saul, for Golden Boy Promotions, the team. It was a great night of boxing, great night for you and everything. What's next? What's after this?
Bueno, como les dije, yo estaba enfocado en Josesito, era lo único que teníamos enfrente. Ahorita no tenemos ningún rival, nada planeado. Vamos a sentarnos a platicar en los próximos días y ver qué es lo que sigue.
Like I've been saying all along, I was just concentrating on Josesito. That was my job, and I did it. We don't even have anybody in mind as an opponent for the next fight. So in the next few days, I'm going to look to sit down with the team and discuss it.
I'm not ready. I was born ready.
The question was if he was ready for Mayweather.
So we now look to the future after hearing from both those fighters in terms of each man. First of all, Josesito Lopez. Yes, he lost this fight tonight. The idea is he'll go back down to 147 pounds, and hopefully he'll get a big fight, and there is one potential fight looming out there for him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he did nothing to hurt himself tonight, for sure, because he went out trying to win. The fight is Victor Ortiz. Clearly, Al, there's a demand for that rematch. Victor Ortiz was winning the fight, got his jaw broken, so there's a great storyline there. And Josesito Lopez, who no one knew a year ago, has earned another big chance. And this one, he was just outgunned, but because of how he lost, he'll get another opportunity.
Yeah, he showed a lot of heart and skill as well. Now, you love Alvarez's offensive firepower, and I agree. I said on the broadcast that to paraphrase Randy Jackson, he's got some mad offensive skills, and you really like the way he fights offensively.
I love it. I mean, he's going to be in some great fights. He's only 22, but he's a very, very poised 22 years old, very mature for the ring. I think he had a lot of tough fights coming up in Mexico. He was not babied at all, and I think that shows. And that's a lesson for other young fighters to learn. You want to get 1 million first-round knockouts in a row against nobodies, well, it's not going to help you. This kid has been brought along properly, and when you think about the fights that he could have down the road with Cotto, with Mayweather, with Angulo, with Kirkland, there are a lot of really good fights for Canelo. And a second thought, Al, if somebody didn't know who Canelo was and came from outer space and said, and we told him this is the biggest young thing in boxing, if they watched this fight tonight and saw everything around it, I think they'd understand why.
Yeah, very exciting, that's for sure. And he had this crowd roaring. Now let's look quickly to the future for him. Obviously, he's looking toward either Miguel Cotto or, dare I say it, Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Miguel Cotto fighting Austin Trout on December 1st, so he has that to take care of. But either one of those fights, especially the Cotto fight with Alvarez, would be delicious.
Well, I think when you have a star like Canelo, there's a path he has to take. It's a path that many fighters before him have taken. Oscar De La Hoya's big breakthrough fight was Chavez. That's what made him a superstar, right? Well, to get to Mayweather, if he ever does, Canelo would need to fight Cotto first. Beat the older fighter, who's a great fighter.
Barely lost to Mayweather, not barely, but did well against Mayweather.
Exactly, which raised Cotto's stock at a point in his career where he needed it. And Cotto's still a very, very good, very useful fighter, and he would be the toughest test to date for Canelo. So that makes sense. It doesn't have to necessarily be the next fight for Canelo, but it would be the fight to aim for.
And it would be another one of those great Puerto Rican Mexican rivalries, and those are so much fun. Well, it was a fun evening this tonight, and Canelo Alvarez did probably what he needed to do to push his career ahead.
Nothing wrong with having some young stars in boxing, and he is as young as any of them, and he shines as brightly as any of them. So it was a good night for Canelo, and I think a good night for boxing.
What's that old line? I have ties older than him. Yeah, yeah, yes. We're channeling our inner vaudevillians here. For Steve Farhood, I'm Al Bernstein. Thanks for joining us here on the Boxing Channel for our coverage of the Knockout Kings. It was a grand evening here at the MGM Grand.